Okay, let's just dive right in, shall we? We've all heard it. You've probably wondered about it. Maybe you've even confidently declared it as a fact. It's the big question, the one that kind of underpins our entire modern world. Did dead dinosaurs actually turn into oil?
I mean, seriously, think about it for a second. Every single time you fill up your car, are you just pumping the liquefied essence of a T-Rex into your tank? It's a pretty epic image, you have to admit.
And hey, you can't really blame people for believing it. There's a major gas station chain that literally built its entire brand around this exact idea. They put a big, friendly, green dinosaur on everything. Marketing, folks, it's a very powerful tool.
So for our first section, let's just lean into it. Let's have some fun and explore this awesome, totally cinematic, and completely pervasive idea, the dino fuel fantasy. I mean, the story is just perfect, isn't it? It writes itself. You've got these gigantic, terrifying lizards ruling the planet, then, bam, some cataclysmic event wipes them out. Then you wait a few million years, let the Earth squeeze them really, really hard, and boom, black gold. It's simple, it's dramatic, it's fantastic.
And you know, this whole idea got a massive rocket booster way back at the 1933 Chicago World's Fair. Sinclair Oil had this dinosaur exhibit, right? They created this link between their oil and these amazing Mesozoic beasts. And just like that, a brilliant marketing gimmick became something people accepted as geologic fact for decades.
It's such a good story. A tale for the ages, really. It connects our boring morning commute to the epic, violent reign of ancient monsters. But let's get real for a minute.
Yeah, no, not even a little bit. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but your car is not powered by dino juice.
So let's just quickly tear this whole idea apart with some, facts. First off, most of the oil deposits we tap into are way, way older than the dinosaurs. We're talking millions of years older. Second, that picture in your head of a giant plesiosaur just settling peacefully onto the seafloor, not gonna happen. It would have been an all-you-can-eat buffet for every scavenger in the ocean. Third, the location is all wrong. Oil forms in deep ocean environments. T-Rex and his buddies, they were land animals. So that last point on the slide really nails it. Saying oil comes from dinosaurs is like saying bread is made of insects just because a fly might have accidentally fallen into the dough. It's not the main ingredient, people.
Okay, so if it wasn't the giant, scary lizards, then what was it? Let's meet the real heroes of our story. And, spoiler alert, they're a lot less glamorous.
Get ready for the real goo makers.
And this right here just says it all. On the left, you've got our prime suspect, the big, fearsome Hollywood superstar. And on the right, the actual culprits. A bunch of microscopic bits of prehistoric, slime. Yep, that's what's in your gas tank. The boring scientific truth is that oil comes from a gigantic, soupy mess of tiny little aquatic things. We're talking about phytoplankton, zooplankton, algae, bacteria, just trillions and trillions of them, living and dying and sinking to the bottom of ancient oceans over and over again.
But here's where it gets really cool. Think about what these tiny organisms were doing. They were basically microscopic solar panels. Through photosynthesis, they were capturing energy from the sun.
So the power in a gallon of gas, it isn't really from a dead thing, it's actually ancient concentrated sunlight. Right, so you've got trillions of tons of dead microbes at the bottom of the sea. How in the world does that become crude oil? Well, let's look at the recipe. Welcome to Section 3, Earth's pressure cooker.
This one just takes, a few 100 million years to cook.
The whole process is basically a giant geologic slow cooker. Step 1. You have this constant rain of death, all that plankton sinking down. Now this is crucial. It lands in water with very little oxygen, so it doesn't rot away. Step 2. It gets buried under tons of mud and sand. Step 3. As it gets buried deeper and deeper, the heat and pressure ramp up, and it starts to cook. And finally, step 4, that organic goo transforms, breaking down into the hydrocarbons we know as oil and natural gas.
But wait, there's more. The oil doesn't just stay there. Since it's lighter than the water and the surrounding rock, it starts to creep upwards through all the little cracks and pores. It just keeps going up until it hits a solid layer of rock it can't get through, a cap rock.
And that's where it gets trapped, forming those giant underground pools that we drill for today.
Now, just when you think, okay, I get it, plankton, not dinosaurs, science throws us a curveball. Let's talk about a very fringe but kind of interesting theory that flips this whole story on its head.
So in this corner, you've got the reigning undefeated champion, the biogenic theory. That's the one we've been talking about, where oil comes from life. It's got all the evidence. But in the other corner, you have the scrappy underdog, the abiogenic theory.
This idea suggests oil is actually formed super deep in the earth, from plain old carbon, no life needed.
And it just sort of seeps up. It's an interesting thought for sure.
But let's be clear. While it's fun to think about, the abiogenic theory is pretty far out there for most scientists. The vast majority of evidence we have points in one direction. As this quote says, it's pretty overwhelming. The rocks, the chemistry, where we find oil, it all screams ancient life.
Okay, so no dinosaurs. Yes to plankton, and there is some wild underdog theory out there. Who cares? Why does any of this actually matter? Well, let's wrap this all up.
And here's the final little twist for you. That name we all use, fossil fuel, it's basically wrong. I mean, sure, the source is ancient life, but it's not fossils like a dinosaur skeleton in a museum. It's a name that was cooked up in the 1700s, and it just stuck. And this is where it really gets mind-bending. This quote totally reframes things. If petroleum is made from biomass, old organic stuff, then that means plastic, which is made from petroleum, is also technically a form of biomass, a very, very, very old processed form of biomass. So just think about that. Your phone case, that plastic water bottle, the fuel that got you to work today. None of it has anything to do with dinosaurs. It's all just ancient, concentrated sunshine, captured hundreds of millions of years ago by prehistoric slime. And really, that's the big takeaway here. Our entire complex, modern world isn't built on the back of terrifying ancient monsters. It's powered by the collected remains of the smallest, humblest creatures imaginable, ancient microbes. We owe it all to plankton. It's maybe a little less metal than the dinosaur story, but it's way more incredible. Kind of makes you think, doesn't it?